Yo, what's up, everyone? This is Nick here, back with a brand new episode of Meet the Plebs. And today I got my boy Jestopher. Jestopher is one of my co-hosts on Bitcoin Kindergarten. I've gotten to know him pretty well over the past year or so, and he's been in line on my list on getting on the show. So yeah, Jestopher, thank you for coming on. And how's it going?
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me on. It's going well. Yeah. I love an opportunity to talk to more Bitcoiners. It's always fun to talk with you on Bitcoin Kindergarten. So, yeah, I'm excited to have a talk with just you.
Let's go. Well, we're not going to be talking too much about me this episode. This is more, all about you. So let's just jump right into it. What's your rabbit hole story, and how did you find Bitcoin?
Yeah. So I first attempted to buy Bitcoin from Mt. Gox in early 2015. And my bank at the time rejected the transaction because it was going to Mt. Gox and Japan and whatnot. And I resolved to, instead of doing that, I just kind of gave up and went to a bunch of faucets and watched like countless hours of ads to walk away with essentially like $1 worth of Bitcoin. And so like naturally at that time, I deposited that into like one of the mini gambling websites and promptly lost just about all of it. And then my next interaction happened in 2017 in that run up, and my Reddit feed was just blown up by those Bollywood dancing gifs, which I was getting pretty frustrated with, and like almost filtered that out. But instead, I made possibly the best decision of my life to actually buy some Bitcoin, just a small fraction of one, and I've been holding on to that ever since. And I had previously worked in a call center that provided information on class action lawsuits, and most of those lawsuits that I was providing information on involved banks that were using practices that benefited the corporation and benefited the corporation at the expense of their customers. So, for example, a lot of the banks, they chose to reorganize their customers' transactions in highest to lowest dollar order. And in effect, that meant whenever a customer ran out of funds, the customers would get charged more overdraft fees than if the bank never reorganized their transactions. And so like for most folks, that's like overdraft fee is like $30, that's a lot to charge someone with literally no money. And so, long story short, like once I had actually bought Bitcoin, I started listening to the Internet of Money. That's like Andreas Antonopoulos's book, and the combination of concepts behind Bitcoin just really resonated with me. Between that disruptive power of technology and the humanitarian benefits that really come from Bitcoin being completely opt-in and immune to some of those policy decisions that maybe a bank or a corporation might make on behalf of its customers. So I just saw that technology is being both massively disruptive and gives me a ton of hope for humanity, more than really anything else in the world.
Yeah, that's kind of fucked up. Like reorganizing people's bank transactions just to screw them over with fees. Like that's I'm not surprised they do that, but that's not I didn't think that they would be doing that. And it just makes you think it's like we need to take, like we need to hold these people responsible, like, and we need like fuck, what am I trying to say? Now that people can self-custody their Bitcoin, it's like no one's going to give their money to the bank. It's like when we have to hold our money in the bank, they can get away with shit like this. But now the game has completely changed. And as more and more people opt out of banks and into Bitcoin and self-custody their keys, like this is a dying fad. They're never going to get away with this stuff again.
It really blew my mind, just handling those those lawsuits because like what the banks were doing was not illegal, but I viewed it as completely immoral. I mean, when you think about it, if you reorganize those transactions in highest to lowest dollar order, then people will zero out their bank accounts faster. And so you'll have more transactions that are eligible for the banks to charge an overdraft fee because they'll just get dinged more and more times. So that's pretty messed up. And that's certainly a decision that, a corporation might make. And none of its customers are going to be voting on that policy decision. It'll be just like you get a privacy policy update in your email saying, oh yeah, we decided to just remove all of the privileges that you were enjoying before, and now we're giving you this additional added service. Oh, also all your location data is now exposed, and so we'll be using that to serve you ads, which is something that no person in their right mind would agree to. Like, I don't want to give you this data and you're only going to be hurting me with it. So, I mean, I would hope that like before Bitcoin, I was hoping that, politicians might step up and hold people accountable after the great financial crisis. But I've yet to see some real forward-thinking policy moves to actually protect consumers from things like that. And thankfully, we've got Bitcoin, so we don't have to wait on politicians to fix that problem. We can just move forward and build with this technology.
Very well said. That's so crazy, dude. That goes on. I want to go back to one of the other things you were talking about. You were saying how you knew about Mt. Gox in 2015. Like what piqued your curiosity and wanted you to look into Bitcoin, and what were you thinking when you were like, oh my God, I gotta send money to Japan to buy this magic internet money? Like what was your thought process?
I think it was I really wish I remembered completely like what the context was, because I didn't think it was significant at that time. It was mainly just a curiosity, thinking, oh, there's internet money and you can gamble with it and do whatever you want with it. Like, that seems cool. Maybe I should get some. And because I just ran into that roadblock and I, with, my bank denying the transaction, then I didn't really know the full magnitude of what I was missing out on. But, granted, I probably would have been one of the claimants in Mt. Gox. So because I didn't have to go through that process of knowing, why self-custodying your Bitcoin is so important. And I probably would have been, one of the people suing Mt. Gox to say, like, hey, please give me my Bitcoin back.
I always think, like, if I would have known about Bitcoin back then and I would have had to wire money to Japan, I probably would have just dropped it straight away and moved on and just totally forgot about it. But moving on to one more thing you said, you were talking about how you used Faucets to obtain Bitcoin after that. Like, over the years, I've seen screenshots of Faucets. Like, I saw one faucet from so long ago when it was like you got 5 Bitcoin per click. And then, like, as time goes on, you just get less and less and less. And like right now, what I consider faucets are like the Fold app. You spin the wheel and you can get Bitcoin back on your purchases and stuff. There's also the Lolly app. You get like 100 sats a day, something like that. Like, that seems like nothing compared to like, what it is right now. But like in the future, that's going to be worth a lot of money. Like, how I know this is kind of different from what we were talking about, but like when it comes to like companies and stuff and like people like really using these faucets, like they can collect a lot of Bitcoin. Like, even though right now it's like, we say, oh, it's like not worth that much. It's only like 100 sats a day, but like when we're at dollar sat parity, that's a lot of money.
That's true. I think we've still got a long ways to grow before we're at dollar sat parity. Yeah, what sticks out to me is that there's way less friction to get involved in Bitcoin compared to when I first made an attempt to buy Bitcoin, because like there's tons of rewards programs. I can go on Cash App, which is like a super commonplace app and really easy to use. I've got Fold rewards, which I'm really enjoying. All my friends are enjoying spinning the wheel on my behalf. And then things like LNTX bot in Telegram, like I can just send people sats like, oh, like you've got a funny GIF, that's fantastic, and I'll tip you a little bit, and you don't even have to know anything about Bitcoin in order to receive funds from me. So like, yeah, just way less friction. So it's really easy to participate in the Bitcoin ecosystem, whether it is, offering services, making donations, or just, becoming meme warriors or meme lords.
100%, dude. It's life-changing stuff, and that's kind of a leeway into my next question is like, has your life changed in any way since getting into Bitcoin? And if so, how?
Totally. I think Bitcoin has made me far more frugal, much less political, way more privacy conscious, more technology focused, and way more obnoxious if you somehow still don't own Bitcoin. And let's see, when I was first going down the rabbit hole, one phrase that came to mind early on was this idea that never before has greed tempted me to live a very simple life. And as soon as I said that in a Bitcoin chat, another Bitcoiner responded with a bright orange image with my, freshly quoted words strewn across it. It was true then, and it's still true today, where, I feel inclined to just like get rid of all my possessions, because all these consumer things are just depreciating assets in Bitcoin terms. Everything is going to zero in Bitcoin terms. And I feel like mainstream environmentalists have somehow been missing just how positively the earth could benefit from, converting consumers into long-term savers and hodlers. So that it has, massively changed my life. I know you and I both have gotten rid of cars, or sold them just to buy more Bitcoin, or made decisions where, we're going to like take what might otherwise be a waste product and make good use of that, just because it's way cheaper to do that, and I can save money by using an old junker vehicle or walking places or biking, just so we can save more for the future.
Yeah, I really wish the office I work at was closer to the place I live at, because if it was, I would sell my car. I I've been through some shit with my car, and my hoopty, I've driven it. I'm gonna drive it till the wheels fall off, but I really wish I didn't have to cross like this huge highway to get to where I have to work. If I didn't, if it was right down the road, I would just sell my car and I'd like skateboard to work every day and just buy Bitcoin. But yeah, dude. One of the things about like greed in Bitcoin is like being greedy in Bitcoin is really good because one, it benefits you. You get richer, you get wealthier.
Mm-hmm.
But two, it strengthens the network, and in doing that, it strengthens the network for you and everyone else around. Like, you run a node, you help protect the network and validate transactions. Let's say you want to run a miner, like you're helping the network mint new currency onto the blockchain and write transactions into the ledger. Like greed is properly incentivized in a Bitcoin system on a Bitcoin standard, whereas on a fiat standard, greed is it will be beneficial for you, but it's like immoral. Like a lot of the stuff that goes on in the fiat system, it's like it incentivizes cheating, it incentivizes screwing other people over, blah 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 blah. And it's the incentive structure under Bitcoin standard is just phenomenally different. And yeah, like Bitcoin kind of teaches you like you don't have to be like this insane, consumer. You don't have to go buy a bunch of stupid stuff you don't need to impress a bunch of stupid people you don't like. You can just live a nice, simple life, be greedy, and get rich from it. Get rich from it ethically as well.
I love it because like anything that I do out of greed, when it comes to Bitcoin, it actually has like positive network effects. Just the fact that I save in Bitcoin means that anyone that also saves in Bitcoin, the value of their savings will go up. They'll enjoy higher purchasing power because me and all my friends are greedy as heck, and we want all the Bitcoin we can get our hands on. So the value of your savings will increase as long as there are greedy people that are in Bitcoin. And in addition, kind of tapping onto, what you're talking about with just running a node, like, yeah, I want the infrastructure for this asset that I purchased to be even more useful. And so like, I'm going to be running a Lightning Network node, and I'm going to be providing liquidity, and I'm doing that out of self-interest, like because I know I can create an on-chain transaction, right now today, and I can do that cheaper than I will be able to in the future as the block space becomes more competitive, and so I can charge Lightning Network routing fees in order to pay for that on-chain transaction that I'm making now, and so hopefully that channel will just pay for itself, and I'll just be making investments which will reduce friction for people in the future to also participate in this ecosystem, which also means that the value of my savings will go up over time as I make it easier and easier for people to participate in this completely open network.
Mm-hmm. And then tying into that, it's like if we're going to put our entire life savings into this, or the majority of it, and we really believe in a Bitcoin standard, it's like we're going to be greedy. We're going to want to, progress this stuff to the fullest, not only for ourselves, but for other people as well. We're going to run a node, protect the network. You're going to use a Lightning node for, everything you just said. But plus, like when on-chain fees get, pretty high later this bull run, you're not going to want to, deal with all that. You're just going to want to go to Lightning full time and just, move around on second layer networks. So you can avoid the high fees of the main chain. And yeah, I think greed is something extremely good in Bitcoin. But moving on to my next question is, and I think I already know the answer to this, but what is the dopest thing about Bitcoin, in your opinion?
I might take this in a direction you didn't expect. But I think the most amazing thing about Bitcoin is that it inspires innovation. So like while Bitcoin seems intimidating at first, the fact that it is so resistant to change makes it a really nice platform to build on. So builders like don't have to keep up on all the latest developments or worry about the next president removing your favorite feature, or the next CEO deciding to change the policies, because Bitcoin will just stay true to its roots, protecting decentralization, which makes it much easier to launch a successful business and to create more specializing tools. It just seems like impossible to find a place to specialize outside of Bitcoin, because the world is just like in a constant state of flux, between disasters, whether they be, natural or political. And it makes it difficult to kind of find your niche. And so Bitcoin makes it easy to specialize. And I found my place in the Lightning routing community, where we're just trying out the latest tools and gathering feedback to make a really smooth user experience for folks on Lightning.
Yeah, so when you get into Bitcoin, I feel like once you start to like get like a pretty good grasp on it, like I know it happened with me, I know it happened with a lot of other people, but like do you just feel this like feeling of like, man, I gotta do something. I gotta like create value. I gotta build something. I gotta like get involved in the space somehow. And I know you just said, you have done that with your Lightning stuff, but can you dive a little bit more into that and like what inspired you to build like Lightning products and like really dive into that and what you're looking forward to in the future with that?
Yeah. So, like as I was getting involved in Lightning and experimenting a little bit with routing, I just saw this immense potential that it has, and I the Lightning like community wasn't that big, and it was definitely more like developer focused. So I started satbase.org, just like really as a personal blog, but then I realized like, oh, like other people might benefit from, these realizations that I'm coming to about like how to manage liquidity and run your routing node in a sustainable way. Uh, so, and I've turned, satbase.org into a paid website. So I have a small, Lightning paywall plugin into WordPress. And so like without any coding, I've essentially, turned a website into, a very small revenue model, but it's, it's become a regularly used resource by people, especially ones that realized how important, batching channel opens is. And so that's my most expensive article on there. I like individually price them, but the benefit that you would get from the information in that article, like you'll save at least that much just by doing a batch channel open. So I've really tried to price things in such a way that people will benefit more just by paying to read that article than if they didn't read it. So that's like my way of contributing value and hoping to make people's transition to Lightning a little bit better, and also just reward the people that are making the path into Bitcoin and into Lightning a little bit easier. So similarly, I want to reward the people that have helped me on my journey, whether it be buying books or sponsoring different folks on like Patreon or any of that, just to continue the Bitcoin education, because it's a deep rabbit hole, and those people early on to help you understand this technology are really important to the community.
That's awesome. So one of the things I wanted to talk about was like I forgot which exchange or company did this, but they released a product where they made it super easy for, let's say, podcasters to be paid and tipped via Lightning. I know we have something set up with Bitcoin Kindergarten. I'm not sure if it's the same thing. And like we can get tipped via Lightning during the show, and it's super easy, super simple, super seamless. And the way I'm seeing, like, I'm just in my head visualizing like all these different entrepreneurial opportunities arising, and like people now having the ability to create income directly from Bitcoin and the Lightning Network. How crucial do you think stuff like that is going to be? And have you seen anything else like in the works of anything in related to that? Like, I think people are going to like this is going to create brand new jobs. People are going to be able to, like, let's say, follow their passions and not get like a normal 9 to 5 job. They'll be able to monetize, whatever skill they have, or entertainment they do, or whatever.
I think micropayments, especially with Lightning, are going to be so important. Like on one hand, just the user experience of actually reading a news article, and then you suddenly reach this paywall or whatever, and you have to like create a special account for this one article, and you just want to understand a little bit more than what the headline says. And the fact that you have to enter in all this information makes it the most painful user experience. Whereas like I can open up something like Strike or Telegram even, and just like pay a Lightning invoice, like just right there, and the rest of the article is revealed to me. Like, okay, that's a much easier experience that involves less unnecessary data collection, and also like on the flip side of things, it as far as like revenue models, like you can just start a business so much easier just because it lowers that barrier of entry. So like anyone that is like creating art or is willing to look at an ad or wants to, just provide any service whatsoever, it's so easy to get paid in Lightning. So like at the local bar that's like close to my house, I've gotten nearly all of the staff to accept Bitcoin at this point. And so I can do that, it's like under the table, but here, like they're providing a good service to me that I appreciate. So like they now get to receive Bitcoin and have meaningful savings for the future, because the money that they save in Bitcoin is not going to be devalued because of this massive inflationary environment that we're operating in.
That is a perfect leeway into my second to last question is, so right now, Bitcoin, in my opinion, is going through its store of value phase. The world has a store of value crisis. Money is figuring out in the free market where to go. And right now it's all pouring into Bitcoin. I think over the next few years, the hundreds of trillions of dollars around the world are going to pour into Bitcoin. After that, Bitcoin has to move from a store of value to a means of exchange. Bitcoin will not scale on the main layer, which is totally fine. But do you think Lightning is the solution to the means of exchange? I don't want to say problem, but when we're ready to move on to that stage and use it as a means of exchange, do you think Lightning will be the tool, or do you think it will be another second layer solution?
I think there's going to be lots of solutions, and I think Lightning is probably the best positioned right now to take on that role. There's other ways to explore things with either with side chains or using somewhat custodial solutions, but Lightning is what excites me the most, because it is for the most part non-custodial if you want to operate with it, and it's a really easy system, and I don't have to really learn other protocols to be able to functionally use Lightning. I mean, we're already seeing that at Bitcoin Beach. Most of them are using Lightning because, I mean, an actual on-chain payment is just not feasible for day-to-day transactions. And so, Lightning sort of acts like a sub ledger. So it's just like another ledger that is only kept between two people, which is just a foundation of a new layer of money.
So I actually have one more question after that. So two more really. But I've heard different answers from a lot of people. I know a lot of people who work on Lightning and use Lightning consider it final settlement, but do you consider Lightning final settlement, or like yes, but no, just because like it hasn't reached the main chain yet, but it kind of is final settlement? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm very comfortable considering it final settlement because there is a signature. There's a signed transaction at either end of the channel, which is ready for settlement and for settlement immediately. So there's I think when you set up a Lightning channel, there's a certain amount that is reserved to pay for a force close transaction, which is called the commit fee. So that part, isn't moving around. It's not like a really usable portion of your Lightning channel, but that enables it so that if the two channel parties disagree, the transaction, the closeout transaction, a force close, could be broadcast and confirmed within the next block with a high degree of certainty. So it will be paying the next block fee times 5. Just to make sure that it settles immediately. So that gives me plenty of assurance that any of those sub transactions in the Lightning channel are effectively final, because we've got the signed transaction and there's already a prepaid fee to make it confirm quickly.
Perfect. Thank you. So now my official last question, and I want you to get as bold-hearted as you want, but what is your price prediction for the end of this year, 2021, but also for when we're at the year 2030, so in 9 years?
All right. Well, admittedly, I'm a terrible trader, which is the primary reason that I only hodl Bitcoin. But I'd guess that the end of 2021 will probably be in a mania phase, and we'll see Bitcoin over $400,000. That's my prediction near term.
Let's go.
And I think end of 2030 should see Bitcoin approaching the $10 million level as that fiat experiment comes to an end.
That is legit, literally like two of my, like, I think you actually might have the same exact prediction as me. Like, I'm pretty sure I've said those exact same two numbers.
I think they're just looking at the way that things are, and you recognize how disruptive this technology is. I think us getting there is not out of the question.
I will definitely be looking forward to that. But Jestopher, thank you for coming on. That's all the questions I have for you today. Before we sign off, is there any last words of wisdom or any shout outs or anything you'd like to do, or any shows you'd like to do?
Let's see. One, thank you so much for having me on the podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure. Yeah, keep an eye out for more Lightning programs. I'm working on one, and we'll wait for an official announcement. But yeah, really looking forward to more tools being built on Lightning, and I hope you'll really enjoy mine in the future. That's all I'll say for now. But thank you again and so much for having me.
Let's go. Okay, so if you made it to the end of this video or this podcast, leave a like. Go follow Jestopher. His link to his Twitter will be down in the description below, as well as the link to statbase.org, his website. So go check that out as well. I will see you guys next week with a brand new guest. Peace.
and knowing auto invitation. Hold on to the pavements. Hate me, love me, for grateful recognition. Heard the man's like